What's up? What's up? What is up? Another Friday, another opportunity to get together and record the Ball Hog Sports Talk with sports, business, and entertainment collide. Why? Because you got a few businessmen that get together to discuss sports in an entertaining fashion. Today's episode is going by the title What's Broken is Broken. And for those of you who have joined the experience that is known as the Ball Hog Sports Talk before, you know that we put a lot into our titles, and the words of the title are never just surface. There's some things and deeper meanings behind the words. But if you've heard that saying before, what's broken is broken, most people attribute it to an old saying from a particular Gone with the Wind artistic performance that everyone knows about. And the quote is exactly, what's broken is broken, and I'd rather remember it as it was. At its best, then mend it and see the broken places all along as I live. I'm too old to believe in such sentimentalities as clean slates and starting over. Today's episode, What's Broken, is inspired a lot by different things that happened. But last week we were not on air because I was being a dad, and my son, unfortunately, messing around the house, the one that I talk about on the show a lot, broke his foot. And I wasn't ready psychologically to get together and do a show yet. But there's other reasons that we made it What's Broken is Broken. And they're going to be specific to what we have going on. A foot will heal. My psychology, I guess, is healed over the injury because we just had to throw away the whole summer season of track, the whole summer season of AAU basketball, but these two shall pass. But there's some other things broken, some systems broken in sports business entertainment that we're going to discuss today. So with no further ado, boys and girls, cats and rats, dogs and frogs, pull up a chair, one of them good, comfortable ones. Get you a nice, large cup of coffee. Put it in the big mug. And you could even put a splash of some of the good stuff in it because we about to get it on. So, Ball Hog Sports Talk is coming to you. Let's go. Wake up, wake up, wake up, and stay woke. Because this is the Ball Hog Sports Talk with your boy, B. Brown, ESQ, a.k.a. the Ball Hog, a.k.a. the mouth of the South. This is the place where sports, business, and entertainment collide. And we're going to give it to you rough, rugged, and raw. So come get you a spoonful, like some grits with butter and salt. You know how we do it in the South, y'all. Make sure you do not get caught in your feelings. Strap on your seatbelt and enjoy the ride. Come on. Let's go. Back in the building. It's on like Donkey Kong, like we never even left. That's what we're about to do. The whole crew is in the building, man, and I'm sharing it to a few people because everybody asked me, man, why ain't you remind me? So I'm reminding a few people that the show is in the building. The whole crew is here. From the Middle Coast, we have thou who shall be known and respected galactically, intergalactically as respected, appreciated as the Big Flow Show. What's up, my brother?
What's good, man? Just coming back. Sorry I had to miss you guys. I did a little fishing last week. A belated celebration of my 50th birthday. You know, old people take us time to get around to stuff, so it took me a few months to start celebrating the birthday. But I'm relaxed. Got a little color. Caught a couple fish. Drank a little bit too much alcohol, but you know, I'm back. I had to get back for the show.
Ain't nobody hold no gun to your head and make you drink that, pausing. So
No one said that. I just said I drank too much. Accountability.
Always good to refresh, man. I've never been a fisherman, man, but I hear that is a very refreshing, relaxing experience, and it is a sport. And so congratulations, man, for turning 50, making it, and then knowing how to celebrate. We also have in the building from the East Coast, fresh off a big victory last night. Thou who shall be respected as the one who puts on, he put on for Boston. He is Mr. the Bean, not Beantown. Yeah, Beantown. What is it called? Boston.
Yeah, all right.
But he is in the
Trying
building here
to
with Ball Hawk
replace it with
Sports.
4-letter words.
It gets a little too complicated. ETP,
Watch
Ellis, the producers in the building. What's up, my brother?
Good morning. I was gonna say I'm a little offended that I wasn't invited on this fishing trip, but I don't want to hang out with old people anyway. So
a bunch of 50-year-old dudes fishing just don't sound
we
like
try to put you to work carrying stuff.
Yeah,
you know what I mean,
it's like a hazing process or something.
We're gonna have a show, Ball Hawk Sports Show, simulcast from down in Florida one of these days, coming sometime soon.
Hey, you said it on air, so now they're witnesses.
That's contractually binding.
Let's do this. I can make good on that. But this is renting season, so it's gonna take a little while. Before we get to it.
Hey, that sounds like rich people problems, man. You got the rich people problem. Go ahead, man.
Old people that can't afford to pay the mortgage by themselves. We need help. We need help from the congregation.
Yeah, you tell us anything. When I grew up, I'm trying to be like the Big Flow Show. So let's hop in, man. Y'all heard me. I talked about how I started off the show talking about the title. What's broken is broken. And I went through this whole evolution emotionally, man, when my son broke his foot. And he didn't break it playing sports. Everyone who heard he broke it, like, man, he broke it playing football. Nah, he was just messing around the house with friends, some of his basketball teammates actually, and broke his foot. But it was his first real injury. It was his first real injury as a young athlete. And I've been hurt as an athlete. And I just felt, the invincibility of an athlete, feel like I'm going to get over it. But to not be able to make it right away as a dad, I don't know, you guys both have experienced it, but it took a little bit, man. So I wasn't able to do it last Friday. Psychologically, I wasn't there, but I have put the pieces back together. I'm not still broken, although his foot is. But that was my first real experience of seeing my son hurt. Like he can't go right now. And was I tripping? I mean, he's only 12, so he'll heal, but it did feel I felt helpless. So I don't know if I got to get therapy for it, but it was depressing. It was.
Having kids makes you soft. I mean, get up, man. Every time maybe you'll be a little bit more sympathetic when AD gets up slow. You'll be like, I don't know, maybe it's bro. I don't know what's going on. But it is tough as a father.
You want to call Mr. Glass. You need to be more sympathetic to when he gets up slow and gets in a wheelchair, which we'll get into.
He's not my son. He's not my son. But no, a father of two athletes, it's a lot of times when you hold your breath, like, get up. Okay, good. Get up. My son had a cramping problem, so he would go down like someone shot him in the back, and he'd be like, oh, my God. And then once I saw him start putting that toe back, you're like, all right, good. It's just a cramp. It's just a cramp. He'll be all right.
Then you feel better about it. Just a cramp.
Just a cramp. Give him some vitamins. I used to go get muscle
fat. I was down and out, man. My wife was like, yo, you tripping. I was like, I guess I am, but it's just something didn't feel right.
Yeah, I guess it's also different. It's not sports related because I mean, whenever there was an injury or my son would go down, it was always the assumption he'll be fine, but it was just like, damn, now he's gonna be upset because he's not able to participate for a prolonged period of time, right? Like that was more the issue, but also not nothing extremely problematic. But yeah, I mean, some surgeries and things like that, but it's tough. I mean, it's all part of it. I mean, the psychological piece is the hardest part of it.
Yeah. And I got calls from everybody. So let me just say this, although we weren't here last Friday, let me just say thank you to everyone, literally like everyone who called. I mean, there are people who called. The coach posted it on Instagram. So people call me like, yo, I heard the news. I'm like, yo, what you mean you heard the news? Before I knew the post went up. But it felt good to get so much support. I told my son about every single call, every single comment on Instagram, everybody who poured love and appreciation into him, and by calling me, I appreciate it. I want to say that publicly, like, seriously, thank you. Now let's hop in, man, because although what's broken is broken, I had to get over that. Like, we had a big AAU tournament that coming up that weekend. But when the lady said his foot is broken, I wanted to just take it together. Like, no, it ain't broken because you got to play in this AAU tournament this weekend. No, it ain't broken because we got all of these things planned for the summer. Just got invited to all of these places and getting recognized as someone doing really well in the sport. It can't be broken. And then I had to just come to the realization that what's broken is broken. And there's some systems in sports business and entertainment that very well might be broken. One of those systems, because we got to start off with this NFL thing. One of those systems, and the NFL is known for making sure that they got a metal detector. They picking up every penny that they can absolutely find. And one of the systems that are part of that system, a subsystem, if you will, is the scheduling. The NFL schedules came out this week. And for this particular topic, we decided this week that we're going to bring in our resident expert, someone who is a friend of the show. He's been here before. And see that rhyme? Y'all see how I did that? That's that Florida lyricist right there. A friend of the show. He's been here before. Come on and bring him into the Ball Hog Sports Talk. None other than our man, Donald Jones is in the building, y'all. Donald Jones, come on into the building. Let me make sure I get you in here. What's up, D. Jones? How are you, brother?
I'm good, man. It's good to be back on. I was sitting there listening. And first of all, I want to say, like, you're one of the first people from Florida that I know that doesn't fish. I think I'm starting to wonder, though, because you talk so much junk, man. I'm starting to wonder if there's anything that you really can do. Like, you swear you could swim, you could bowl.
Look. Let me correct you. I can fish. I choose not to fish.
We're three birthdays in on this dunk he's supposed to be doing that I've advised.
Oh, yeah, I got that. The dunk
but D, man, before we get any further, man, shout out on your background, man. Your background is off the chain.
Yeah, straight swing. You went straight swing.
Yo, it's crazy, right? Yo, yeah. It's green screen too. It's green screen.
You want to do a whiteboard during this today? What we gonna do, man?
Something you want to tell us, man? You in time out? What's going on, bro?
Wifey said you can go in that room. Obviously, I don't care about that room. Go in that room right there.
This is what you get. You get me. I don't need all the extra stuff. Y'all need all the extra stuff in the background.
Straight to it, baby. Let's go.
I don't need none of that stuff. And other thing, man, is you definitely. Some of us had to talk you off the ledge a little bit, man, because you was tripping. You was
about
tripping.
My son's, about the foot. I was tripping. I was tripping a little bit. It was the first injury, man. So I'm calling, doing research. I got every doctor, foot, ankle specialist in the tri-state area on the phone. Yeah, I was tripping a little bit, but
until you have a kid that's an athlete, you'll never realize how delusional you can be. Because your mind gets so crazy. I look back at some of the things I did. And I'm like, what the hell was I thinking? But you have to live through it. And you have to come to the realization on your own. It's not the end of the world. There's so many people that are probably listening to the show think, oh, man, when my son was that age, he hurt his foot too. He'd be all right. He'd be straight. But you can't tell somebody in the moment that's going on because that's your world. So I have no criticism for you like that. He's going to be straight, though.
Yeah, he's going to be straight, man. But we got to figure out if our team's going to be straight. Because today's episode, what's broken is broken. I see my man Scott Bibb in the building. What's up, y'all? To those who have joined us, like we say every week, we ask you humbly. We say first, thank you for your support. Thank you for tuning in. And then we ask you humbly, please like, please comment, please share, please tag a friend, please tag a foe, please tag anybody that you know, and please subscribe to both the YouTube channel and the podcast. We say that, and then I'm going to start in because I see my man Scott Bibb. Scott Bibb has the unprecedented nerve, the unlitigated gall to come on early this morning. Not only is he lying, but I'm assuming it's early enough that his breath might still be stinking and say that the Cowboys going to win it all. But I need y'all to let me know what you think because the schedules came out. There's some unique things about the schedule. We know who the Hall of Fame game is, which is the first preseason game. Will feature my Cleveland Browns, right? You know that. The Cleveland Browns, I got the Hall of Fame game, y'all, because Joe Thomas, who was our amazing all-pro, Pro Bowl offensive lineman, is being inducted. The Cleveland Browns get to play spoiler to the New York Jets. New York Jets has Darrelle Revis being inducted into the Hall of Fame. And so you've got the Jets and the Browns as the first Hall of Fame preseason game, and that'll be the beginning of the run that will be the Super Bowl run of the Cleveland Browns. But I digress. Is there anything else that you guys saw in the schedule that came out? And we're asking, I say you guys, we are asking our audience that as well. There's been the strength of schedule things have already been posted. We don't know the strength of schedule until we know what teams are going to do, but the early predictions are always fun. We've gotten one prediction already from some crazy, delusional Dallas Cowboys fan. I think that's the only way they make those fans. How about them? I can't even finish that sentence. Are there any other predictions after seeing the schedule? We'll start with you. Donald Jones, former Buffalo Bill wide receiver, someone who has been on the show before, and someone who knows the ins and outs of this whole NFL thing. Is there anything that stood out to you when it came to this NFL schedule? Any surprises? And then we got to get into predictions team by team because everybody got their team on this particular segment of the Ball Hawk Sports Talk. And all four of us have different teams. But I'll start with you in terms of what you saw with the schedule. Anything stood out before I get into the predictions?
Well, I'm going to start off with Cowboys fans. That's all they really know, right? It's just like, Cowboys going all the way this year. It's like they're born with that like written on the wall in the hospital on the board, the whiteboard in the hospital, right? It's like from a baby. That's what they see.
First words. It's first words they learn.
Like, come on, man. That's just what they know. But in terms of the schedule, man, from a Buffalo Bills standpoint, obviously that first game is a Monday night game. I got to go. It's here in Jersey. So I got to go to that game against Aaron Rodgers coming to New York. I think the Jets.
You kind of big league us right there. You kind of big league because you said I'm going
to the game. Well, man, I got to go to the game. You know what, Bobby? I might have to bring you with me, man. Come on.
Man. Hey, man, I don't know if I know how to act in a real game no more, man. I don't want to put your namesake on the. You gonna want to take me? I act ignorant. But
hey, it's all good. It's all. Listen, ain't nobody act more ignorant than my father at the game. So.
He one of them.
He one of them. It's bad. You know what I mean? So that game, but I think really what stood out the most for me was that first game, that Kansas City-Detroit game. I mean, and just talking to different people around the country, former players, whatever the case may be, everybody thought it would be Kansas City, Philly, or Kansas City, Cincinnati, just from a star, standpoint. And that's not what it ended up being. It's Kansas City and Detroit. Now, I understand Detroit looks like they finished the season a little bit better last year, but I just didn't understand that one, because it's like Detroit. Right.
And that's normally for the NFL. We talked about the NFL and their propensity to make money. That first game is normally their money maker. So maybe they know something we don't about these Detroit Lions. I was surprised to hear that was going to be first game too.
Well, you listen to some people, they'll tell you that the NFL is rigged. So maybe there is something that is known that we don't know here on this show. But it can be a good game. It's in Kansas City. I just can't really – I don't see it. I don't see it from a star power matchup. I just don't see it. I'm hoping that it's a good game, but I'll be watching just because it's the opening game. But I look more to that Bills and Jets matchup week 1, baby. That's the only one that matters. It's the only one that matters. And from a prediction standpoint, come on, man. You know what it is.
8-8 Aaron against the Bills Monday night. That will be exciting. Now I got to go around the horn. I'll start with you since you start off talking about what you saw in the schedule. Prediction. You're part of Bills Mafia. Prediction. 17 games. What is your way too early, but way too exciting not to ask prediction of the Bills Mafia 2023 season? What is their record going to be come playoff time?
I got to go back to one thing for the schedule that stood out to me, and we talked about Dallas. Buffalo plays Dallas in Buffalo on my birthday, December 17th. I'd imagine we'd be coming back from Florida. We'll be national champs on the youth level. And that's right, big flow show.
Youth football, national champ.
National champ.
That's not to say. For a man with no background.
National champs, baby. Listen, this green screen, don't worry about it. This is new. This is new to the industry in the background.
From an undisclosed location.
I can't wait to see how you freak.
But yeah.
To protect the
identity. I'm gonna have to go to that game up in Buffalo, that Buffalo Dallas game. I'm gonna sit in the booth though. I can't. It's too cold in December in Buffalo.
Shit. Now you're in the booth.
And you in the booth?
That's right.
Hey, which game are you flipping the coin this year?
Yeah.
I'm not.
Singing the national anthem.
Yeah, right. Exactly. But prediction, man, 17 games. I'm going 11-6. All right. I don't know if the Bills 11-6. I don't know if the Bills will win that division. Miami and the Jets, they make it tough, but I can see 11-6 and still. I see all three of those teams in the playoffs. That's my prediction. Stamp it. When I come back on the show at the end of the season, Boom.
Oh, I'm writing it down. Don't worry about it. I'm writing it down. I'm taking a picture.
With all this foolishness in one, this might be your last appearance.
Right? It's like you got a drug.
You already invited yourself back.
Yeah. What's going on?
Just because we can't see where you are.
Yeah.
So now we're gonna go around the horn. Big Flow Show. I don't know if you say it publicly, but I happen to know that you're a Chicago Bears fan. Live in Chicago.
I'm gonna give him a chance. I'm a true Chicago Bears fan. I'm
fair
weather.
My bad.
I'm fair weather, just like everybody else.
I'm true.
So
Chicago
I'm
Bears
only
fan.
good till they're not. I'm good. But you know what? I gotta say, man, we all have to be thinking about this. We can't wait till September 10th. The first game post Aaron Rodgers against these.
Everybody got their sights on Aaron, huh?
I'm just happy he gone. But I got to give a shout out to Jaden Reed, Naperville Central graduate, got drafted by the second round by the Packers. So we can't hate him too much. Nobody to throw to him, though. So maybe they give him some end of rounds or something. I don't know. But the Bears still going to have to win that game. The Bears rebuilt. I think they did pretty good in the drafts. I think they did pretty good in free agency. It's going to be a big year for the Bears. I think we're going I don't know, wild card game or something. I don't know.
It's gonna be big. It's gonna be 5 and 14.
It's gonna be fabulous.
5 and 12.
We're gonna be 10. We're gonna be 10 and 7. We're gonna make it a wild card game. We're gonna make that a close game, and
10 and
you
7.
never know what happens.
Wow.
Also from the AFC East, the division that apparently, according to our guy D Jones, is very competitive, but also very talented. Got some good teams. There's a third team in there because you mentioned your Buffalo Bills Mafia. You mentioned the Miami Dolphins if Tua can stay healthy. The team that you didn't mention has been the team that has had the dynasty.
Come on, don't
in the NFL.
We didn't ask you for all of that.
I'm just saying.
You're giving too much information. Let him talk. You giving too much information.
My bad. You're right. TMI. Who better to ask about those New England Patriots than our resident Mr. Boston himself, ETP? Bring the Patriots to the stage because it seems like y'all forgotten in your own division. What's your prediction, my brother?
I mean, Mr. Jones said that, there's some speculation that the NFL is rigged. I think this might be a year that it's officially rigged. You got one of the strongest divisions. I think the NFL really has collectively come together to conspire against the greatest dynasty in the history of football. So put them at the bottom of the barrel, brought over one of the greatest quarterbacks to the New York Jets. Now, and they have to open the season against the Eagles, who just went to the Super Bowl. They got the Chiefs on the schedule. They got, ultimately the hardest schedule. I think the only real cakewalk is probably when they go to Germany to play the Colts. But other than that, I don't think they're going to be 500. I'd say, trying to be optimistic, they're going to be 8 and 9.
Hey, don't sleep on Richardson. Don't sleep on Richardson. Florida.
Yeah. I'll say this because I look at New England as one of those teams that they always figure it out in a good way. So we'll see. But to hear a Patriots fan say the NFL conspired against them after some of the wins, the inexplicable wins that y'all had during that dynasty, I respect the dynasty.
Sometimes it's got to come back around eventually, I guess.
It's boomerang. So now they get it back. So last but certainly not least, drum roll, please. Here you go. The Cleveland Browns, the dog pound. Look, where the camera at? We on this camera? Let me look right in the camera.
Let's do it.
The dog pound, right? The team that some of y'all fools tried to call the mistake on the lake. We right across from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Why? Because we rocking and rolling in 2023. We finally got our quarterback doing the things he's supposed to be doing. He's an upstanding member of the society and community there in Cleveland. We finally got some weapons outside. We finally have a stable running back room. We finally have a defense that has, on week in and week out, played the way we were supposed to be playing. We finally have it together. And look, Deshaun Watson don't have no 11-game suspension this year. Deshaun Watson ain't getting no more massages. So you hear from me right here, the AFC North will be won by the Cleveland Browns. The AFC North has as its cross divisions the AFC West. The NFC West, NFC West and the AFC South. Right? So we got to play teams like the Texans, the Colts. Really? The we gonna be fine. Now, NFC West is a much more difficult division with the teams that they have there. I don't think the Cardinals are gonna be bad as everyone thinks, and we know the rest of the division in the NFC West. I say all that to say that the Cleveland Browns are gonna go 11-6. We're gonna win the division. We're finally gonna proceed to the AFC conference title game. That's as far as I'm willing to predict. 11-6. So if you're keeping record, we got the Bills Mafia saying 11-6 and D Jones. We had the Big Flow show. He stuttered when he said it. He didn't say it with his chest, but he said 10-7. But the final thing that came out was 10-7, and then we had ETP, probably the most realistic here, said 8-9, and then your boy.
And the best part is, maybe outside of the Bills, the Patriots will probably end up having the best record out of all.
No, this is the Browns' year. I know we normally figure it out.
It always is.
The wrong reason. We normally have to figure out how to lose, but not this year. Stamp it. Boom. It's in the books.
Me and you need to switch backgrounds.
I have to say this officially on the air that I retired from all Browns criticism because of their 5th round pick. None other than Cameron Mitchell, Bolingbrook's favorite child, Northwestern University Wildcat. Cameron Mitchell is now number 29 on the Cleveland Browns. So from now on, you're on your own, Ellis. When you want to call them those type of names, I'm just going to try to remain silent. I'm not going to say too much.
Hey, you could do
they're
it.
Officially my squad now.
You could do one better. You could do one better, baby. You know what you could do? Just come on and jump on the bandwagon. You ain't leaving nothing behind that really is that sexy. It's the Bears.
I got to keep my integrity. So I'll say to save me a seat. If I can make it work with my schedule, I'll show up.
I'll take it. I'll be there. I'll take it. Because I know how you do in basketball. Like, you follow LeBron. LeBron's your guy. So what's the gentleman name from Bolingbrook's finest that got drafted by the Cleveland
Cameron
Browns?
Mitchell. C. Murder, whatever you want to call him.
Come on.
Mr. Lockdown. Mitchell Island.
Let's do it. Mitchell Island. I'm with it. I'm a fan. Let's do it, Cameron. But that reminds me, as I bring up LeBron, there's a thing called the NBA playoffs going on. And again, I see new people come in. What's up? I see my man Jan Banks here. What's up, Coach Banks? Our defensive coordinator. The Dark Knights is represented in here today. Like we ask you every week, humbly, we ask you to like, comment, share, tag a friend, tag a foe, tag anybody that you know, and please subscribe to both the YouTube channel and the podcast. Let's hop into the NBA, man, because they got some playoffs going on. Last night, games. Brings us to two very important critical pieces of the NBA that I want to point out in today's episode. Because today's episode is what's broken is broken, right? And we started off with the schedule, talking about what's broken is broken. The Bears and the Browns probably being the two most broken franchises represented here at these four squares.
I can't even keep up.
Put his head down.
Right?
I can't even keep up. I don't know what to say. All right.
We talked about the possibility of the conspiracy of them trying to break up what was a dynasty in New England. But there's this NBA thing that there's two categories in the NBA playoffs that we got to talk about in this episode of what's broken is broken. One being the referees. The referees have seemed to be very, very entertaining, but they've done a poor job. The flopping has taken off. We've seen this back and forth, whether it be between Steve Kerr and LeBron James, and people say, and Steve Kerr saying, congratulations to the Lakers for what they could sell. And the referees seem to be a bigger part of these NBA playoffs than I can remember in recent history. The other big part of these NBA playoffs is the rampant injuries. The injuries have impacted not one, not two, but every single playoff series to date. And last night's game, we'll start with the blowout because the Phoenix Suns got blown out by 25. They got beat mercilessly at home again to send them home. Same thing happened to them last year. Last year, different opponent, Dallas. This year, Denver. But they got their head beat in. And you can't help but notice that when they're getting their head beat in, the camera keeps panning over to the sideline. You see Chris Paul with a growing injury. You see DeAndre Ayton with a I don't know what his injury was. He hurt his side. Him hurt his side. Meanwhile, Jokic is going crazy out there. And it makes me ask, have we seen what's going on with these injuries? A lot of people saying Chris Paul needs to hang it up. CP3, I'll still call him CP3. I want to be respectful.
He needs more load management.
Someone said DeAndre Ayton hit the tap out button. He tapped out because Jokic was killing him. I mean, Jokic killed him all series. But what's happening such that load management was this big thing, yet we have all these injuries? I'll go reverse order on this one. ETP, to see a playoff game with so much significance, so much meaning to decide who's going to move on to the Western Conference Finals, and yet see two of the biggest pieces of the Phoenix Sun on the sideline. What are we seeing here? What's the rationale? I'll start with you on.
I don't want to speculate of the severity of injuries. I mean, it's basically a medical exercise through the playoffs. It's like who's going to stay healthy is going to be the ones that win the championship. And, this year is no different. We've seen it in the past rounds. Obviously, Kawhi Leonard changed that whole series. The Phoenix series, Chris Paul he should change his name. It's Curse Paul, because he cannot get through a playoff season or a postseason without getting injured when they have a shot to win it. So yeah. I can't speak on it. Like I said, we don't really know DeAndre Ayton. I don't know how much of it was. You just never heard about even speculation that people were capable of playing, but chose not to play up until more recently. And there's business decisions being made and other things happening. So not necessarily that it's a softer generation, but I think there's a lot more decisions that are, or influences to different decisions. But ultimately, I just have to assume that anybody that's not playing is injured. And, it's a faster game. I don't know why or how, the injuries have been so rampant, over the past years, but, that's just the nature of the game. So unfortunately, as a fan, it just makes it hard. It's just like, I just want, I want to watch, you never worried about, is Jordan going to be ready to play in game 6? It's going to happen. Like, it's no matter what happens, he's going to be on the court. And to see the biggest stars not be able to go or leaving games and not being able to kind of influence or determine the outcome of a series, it's hard as a fan to stay engaged with it, but it's still exciting basketball, so they don't have a problem.
Even the speculation, and this is why I say what's broken is broken. The NBA has a problem. Even the speculation that DeAndre Ayton, I almost called him something else. I ain't gonna call him out his name. DeAndre Ayton, I almost called him. I ain't gonna do that. DeAndre Ayton did not look hurt. Now, granted, they said it was his side. It looked like he had a bruised ego because Jokic gave him the business. But even the speculation that could be true seems to undermine the whole quality of the game.
You just set it up by saying he looked like he had a bruised ego.
He did have a bruised ego. You look over there, man. He's smiling on the sideline.
I'm saying, you're like, I can't believe this speculation about his bruised ego.
Maybe I created the speculation. I can admit that. What I'm saying is, when the camera pans over, he got on this outdated 1984 polo, smiling from ear to ear. Nah, dog, your side's supposed to be hurting. Your team is getting their brains beat in right now, and it just didn't feel right. And you were a lot more politically correct when you said you ain't going to call this generation soft. So I'm going to be politically incorrect. I'm going to call them Charmin soft. Generation Z is Charmin soft. And it is evidence
what? At my age, Charmin is very sorry.
Well, here, I'll throw it to you and ask you. Maybe I'm overreacting. Tell me I'm overreacting, Big Flow Show. Ain't over there chilling with a smile with a big old 1983 polo on.
Let's separate.
Well, let me just jump. I just want to add one point. Like, we did this with Kawhi too, and then we found out he had a torn meniscus. So I just
we tell he's actually tough. Yeah, it's tough.
I'm not saying he's anyway. Sorry. I just
at the end of the day, look, CP3. I cannot believe that he's anything but hurt. Right? It keep happening to him. He keeps getting to the brink. I actually feel bad for this man. Every year he fights. He has his team doing so well. Everything's doing well, and then he finds a new team, and that team gets to be good, and then he can't make it. So he's hurt. He needs a new trainer or his nutritionist. He needs to get to LeBron's people of the longevity, whatever the hell he's taking, whatever type of vitamins or black oil, seed oil, or whatever he's doing.
More speculation.
Turmeric.
See, now you about to put LeBron on some stuff.
Turmeric, black seed oil, whatever that Dr. Sebi stuff he's on, whatever. It keeps him right. 20th season, still made All NBA. We ain't gonna talk about
Shout
that.
out to him. Shout out. No, this is our moment. Hey, you know what? Hold up. Stop the presses. Keep your thought for a second, Big Flow Show. I want everybody to hear this because y'all say I'm a LeBron hater. Shout out to the King, man. I'm a witness. 20th year, still All NBA. Respect.
Still.
Respect. All right.
Dr. Sebi, whatever the hell he's doing. But all I'm saying is CP, so he's hurt. There's no questions asked. He's hurt. He's hurt and you knew he was going to get hurt. I even put it even there. So you knew that it was time, right? Your boy, big man, I don't know enough about him. I don't want to put that on him. Has he got the AD thing where he just, he's real soft tissues, extra soft? Does he have that type of stuff? Or
I didn't like seeing that smile on his face. Camera go, he like this.
You know what, though? It's funny. I'm kind of with you. Like, your team over there getting beat and you sit on the bench, nothing's funny right now.
Nothing.
We can laugh tomorrow at home, but you can't laugh out here publicly. I don't care what the hell happened.
Or at least if you're going to laugh, do one of these. They're down 30.
And it's funny to you. He thinks that's just going to get him more breath. See, without me, they lost by 30. I'm the MVP. He think he'll get an MVP vote for that. So I don't know. It is bad. You hate to see it at the. You want to see tough against tough when it's all game, a series on the line. You want tough against tough. It didn't work out that way, but it never does that way for the Suns. So what are you gonna do?
Last but certainly not least, I'm gonna go to you on this one, Jones, because we talked about it in the football context. For those who don't know, Jones and I also get the pleasure of coaching with one another. I've coached with everybody here except you, Big Flow Show. I don't know what your coaching like.
You're not ready. Get your weight up. Will you coach?
Get my weight up.
We'll coach together next year.
I ain't going down that lane.
Get your weight up.
Well, at some point, if I ever get to the coaching prowess level to coach with you, then I can speak to your coaching. But you and I have coached together, and we've talked about it. Are certain kids, more prone to injury, or is their pain threshold and tolerance just lower? And I put that in this context because to see, and I don't want to pick on Ayton. CP3, we understand, man. His growing is 137 years old. So when you hear he hurt his growing, it's not, you know what I mean? That man growing 183 years old. We know his growing it's been through some things. But does it make you question someone's pain tolerance?
As we continue to digress.
Yeah, I digress. What say you when you look at this NBA, when you look at this generation Z of guys that are taking the whole load management throughout the regular season, and now in the postseason, every single series has been significantly impacted.
It was my turn. It's my day off. I couldn't play. Okay,
yeah, like what is that?
I think first of all, I really feel for Chris Paul as well, just because, he's been playing for so long, and he's one of those guys that every year, I think the entire NBA roots for him to get a ring. Even the guys on the other team that he's playing against, like, I really want this dude to get a ring unless we playing against him. You know what I mean? It's like he's been doing it for so long, and every time he gets there, something happens and he gets hurt. So you got to imagine that he's actually hurt just because he's older. But when it comes to the other guys, I think it's a combination of – I do think that this generation is softer. I talk to my son about it all the time, especially when it comes to the NBA and just basketball in general. I'm always like, they so soft. And my son is like, nah, they not soft, Dad, until Steph Curry, something happens with Steph Curry. And then he's like, nah, that's a foul. I'm like, man, he didn't even touch him. What are you talking about right now?
Right.
He's a diehard Steph Curry fan. But I think that it's a combination of the money has become so big that that's all they think about versus the wins. Like everybody wants to get paid. They want to be the top paid person in the NBA. They want their shoe deals. They want movie deals, all of this NIL stuff, that's like first on everyone's mind. That's why when you think about it all the way down to the youth level in basketball, AAU, or we talking about football, whatever the case may be, parents are forming social media pages for their kids in the hopes of getting an NIL deal at a young age. Everybody's just thinking about the money without the understanding if you win, if you're constantly balling and being that dude on the court or on the field, the money will actually come in the long run. And so I think that's really the issue, is that everybody just thinks about the money. So when you're sitting on the bench, you're like, shoot, I'm getting paid. Yeah, we getting our head busting, but I'm getting paid. Like I got a check coming at the end of the week. And it's not the same as from when we were young. I remember being in high school in a playoff game, and I caught a high ankle sprain, and I'm on the sideline in tears because my team, we in the first round of the playoffs, and we getting our head busting, and I can't help the team. And it just hurt my heart because I could not help the team. You don't see that from the athletes today.
Maybe that's what it was. Maybe DeAndre Ayton was, they say laugh and stop from crying. Maybe he was on the verge of crying when the camera caught him, and so he was laughing to stop from crying. Maybe that was it.
Hey, I hope that was it. I hope that was it. But you still do have guys in the NBA that had that old school mentality, and any
of them come to mind? Who would you say in this NBA? I like that. Like in this NBA, who would you say has a high ankle sprain in this NBA and goes out there, tapes it up, and still plays, drags his foot if he needs to? Was that Bernard King, or like who in this NBA, Willis Reed, who in this NBA do you think would go out there hurt, battered, risk it all, regardless of the money, because they love the winning part of it and the competing part of it way more than the money? Anybody come to mind? I didn't look. I'm putting you on the spot because I'm trying to think of somebody. I would say Jimmy Butler, but Jimmy Butler just took a game off.
You're biased.
Jimmy Butler just took a game off.
You're biased, man. The crazy thing is, I was actually going to say that. I had two people that came to mind, and the first being who you guys mentioned, and LeBron James. Now, yes, we talk about load management throughout the year. He might take a couple of games off, but for the most part, that dude is out there playing and performing for the fans. And when it comes to playoff time, he's going to be out there if he can be out there. And so right now you're talking about 20 years in, and this dude is out there giving everything that he can when his counterpart in AD. I mean, you look at the play, he supposedly caught a concussion. It's like, bro, are you serious right now? Right. So I think LeBron is definitely that guy.
I'm trying to give him the microphone while I'm touching things I shouldn't touch. I'm trying to give him the screen because he was talking about LeBron and people couldn't hear. Give him the screen.
I think when it comes to
you didn't touch a whole bunch of stuff now.
I don't touch everything. That's why I don't have the producer in my thing. But I can stay in front.
I was like, hold on, how come I'm looking at Big Flo show like he's bigger in my screen like that?
I was trying to see the whole screen. You was talking about how tough LeBron was, and some people wasn't.
Man, he just put the spotlight on you. I don't want to see you like that.
What are y'all doing?
I started touching.
There we go, man.
I won't touch you.
My God, I didn't even know what you touched. That's how crazy it was.
The wrong button. I thought.
I think LeBron is definitely that guy. And then the other one I was gonna say, which I don't want to say because I'm a Knicks fan, is Jimmy Butler. I think he is that guy that he's going to lace him up regardless. He has that old school mentality. I think there could be one other, and that's out in Portland. Man, his name slips my mind right now.
That's because he ain't just chasing the money. Anybody
not chasing the money. He ain't chasing the money. He ain't trying to be on those super teams. None of that stuff.
Not Grant. In one of the Grant brothers there.
Who are you talking? You talking about Lillard?
Yeah, Damian Lillard, man.
He don't need to chase money. He's one of the highest paid players in the league.
But in terms of like, it's not even just chasing that dude. His mentality, I think he's going to come through for his team regardless. Take the money out of it. I think he's going to come through for his team regardless. He just doesn't have anybody out there with him to a fault.
I think I was this way. I messed it up. Sorry. I'm going to ask you, Big Flo, same question. Because in this episode of What's Broken is Broken, when I think of injuries, and the way Jones is describing it, he's saying one of the reasons that the system of the injuries is load management and not getting the best players to play in the postseason. Why that system is broken is because players are probably looking more at the money than they are the competition. And in this NBA, like, is there anybody that comes to mind? Now, granted, we're just guessing. We don't know what's at the true core of the person's being and whether or not they are that type of competitor. But I'm tripping off the fact that names aren't just flying to my brain. Like, this NBA, this Generation Z, they don't just hop off the page in terms of being competitors. I like that one. One of our and please do, for our audience members, please share some names. I like that one. My man Chufu Jordan says Mikal Bridges because he played not 82 but 83 games. Anybody else come to mind? Big Flow Show. I'll throw.
I mean, I was thinking LeBron, and I definitely was thinking Lillard as well. Does he have to be a goon, or could he be somebody who's the kind?
I mean, you prefer a goon. A role player is obvious.
I mean, like, I can't remember the last time. Maybe I'm wrong. That Draymond's missed a game for anything other than cussing.
I'll give Draymond.
Draymond
feels like he's been here before. He feels like he's in a time capsule. He's not of this generation. I'll give you Draymond.
Be a fight, but besides that, everybody they do. The thing about it's so weird when you think about basketball. Not to digress from that, but like their money is guaranteed, right? And they get so much of it. Each contract is enough for two generations of wealth. It's not like football where you really have to worry about, man, if I get hurt, this is a contract year, or I get cut, I won't make money. They're gonna pay you unbelievable amounts of money regardless. Go on, just go and play it out. Go and play it out. What you gonna do is get an ankle.
ETP, I'll throw it to you. Any names that just come right to mind? Like, because you would have think in the generation before, there's so many names. We would have been struggling on how to rank those names. Now I'm baffled that not more names are coming to mind.
This is like a new segment of like, these damn kids need to get off my lawn or something. Like,
feels like it, but at the same time,
this is such a I don't know. I don't even. Again, like, the premise of it is assuming that people are doing things where they're not injured, and it's hard for me. I'm surprised by it, but I can't sit here and be like, oh, these guys are just load managing in a game 6 or in a game 7. That doesn't make any sense to me. Like, that, we could talk about it as, you know, being driven by other decisions, but I don't know. I would like to believe that everybody that's in the league, if they're ready to go and if they can play, especially in the postseason. Obviously, the issue with load management in the regular season is ridiculous. But if somebody is deciding to not suit up when the game is on the line and their playoff, you know, the playoff series is on the line or their season's on the line and they're not suiting up, I can't imagine that they're just incapable, like, of making that decision.
So with that being said, then it becomes, okay, you're really hurt. You're on the sideline. We're getting our head beat in. Where is the accountability from the teammates where it's like, yo, bro, you over there laughing like we winning this game. It's nothing funny about it right now. I don't even want to talk to you right now because, you go over there. I'm a little upset that you're sitting over there regardless. If you hurt, you hurt. But there's no laughing.
Well, I think that's an important point. Like, that's a piece that's changed a lot for me. Is just like the friendliness of all of it, right? Like, just even the idea of like trading jerseys after you lose to another team, and the way that there's just like no real distress around losing. Like, take playing or not, injured or not, out of it. But like, you'll see the series ends and everybody's hugging, everybody's fine. Like, everybody's talking about what they're going to do, when they're going to go fishing and get whatever they're talking about, right? Like, that's the thing that's strange to me, is that the passion of the competitive fire is probably what's changed. I don't know about the injury side of things, but in terms of the competitive nature of it, that's where I'll ride with y'all in terms of what has changed. Because they're all friends, right? They play USA basketball. Yeah. They do all this stuff. Like, it's a family.
Listen, I'm sure I don't care. I teach my son at 12, you don't have friends, not even in practice. They ain't your boys. When they line up across from you, I'm about to dog you out. After practice, we could talk. We can, another day we could talk. We can laugh, whatever the case may be. When it comes to that whole like trading jerseys and all that stuff, yo, mail me your jersey. There's an understanding. Yo, I need that jersey. Mail me that another time. We're not about to sit here and take pictures with the jerseys after I just lost to you. I'm not doing it.
At the risk of sounding like a great grandpa, and I'm okay with that because I'm getting old.
But it's
right.
It's there already.
I'm an old man, but even hearing, like, we talk about load management. It's been socialized so much and normalized so much that it's like, oh yeah, load management. Huh? Even when it comes to the regular season, like, you are living your dream. You're not just your dream. You're getting paid to do something that every kid in every single gym, AAU rec, or just behind their house dreams about. You're getting paid handsomely for it. So even when we talk about load management regular season, I understand the financial implications to it. It's just, again, at the risk of sounding old, I think that's just a example of why it's broken. That's just me.
Hey, listen, I would also venture to say that there's a lot of foreign players coming into the NBA that have more of that old school mentality than the American players.
Hungrier. I think from different regions of the world, they're hungrier. And having been a part and still a part of the AAU world, I see why.
So my answer to the question, to come back, that nobody said, Giannis. I mean, this man his knee bent backwards in the playoffs, and he was back at the next game.
So, and he broke his back in our playoffs and was back. Yeah, I'm with you on that one. Giannis.
I put him at the top of the list.
That knee thing alone is kind of hard to argue. That was nasty. I thought he was
done. I thought he was done till the next
ended.
season.
Said, nah,
and he was back the next game.
Yeah, fair, very fair with Giannis.
And he performed like the best.
And I refuse to believe
that
that there wasn't something in there that's not the same. Something in there is not the same as it was before. Your knee just doesn't go like that. I will give you Giannis.
Let's hop into a few of the other NBA stories, man. Let's get out of here on this particular topic, but because last night we saw Phoenix get blown out by 25. It looks like the gig is up in Phoenix. There's going to be some trades. DeAndre Ayton, it has been rumored that if indeed he wasn't terribly hurt and could have gone, he did so to preserve his trade value. DeAndre Ayton is probably going to get moved. What we tried to do before the show is we were thinking, well, DeAndre Ayton, well, what is his real value? And the challenge was we couldn't even really think of who would be a big man that had more value than DeAndre Ayton, right? When you think of big men in the front court, centers, true centers, we had to go look at what the ranking was, and DeAndre Ayton is absolutely ranked very high when we think of traditional big men. I think the idea of a big man is broken, and I don't have that list here. Anybody have that list? We had the list of big men, and we were struggling, just like we were struggling to come up with names of new school players that have old school mentality and would play through injury. We struggled to come up with who our top 5 big men were. Like, who is a
number
true
10
center?
is Christian Wood. Then Nikolai, I don't know if I say his last name. Wendell Carter's number 8. Jared
Allen.
Allen.
10 was who?
Number 10 was Christian Wood. I don't know who that is.
You don't know who it is. Number 9?
Nikolai Volcevic, whatever you gonna say.
For the Raptors, who's he play for?
That's terrible. He plays for Dallas.
Number 8?
Oh no, that's Wood. Sorry, it's Dallas. Nikolai is for Chicago, and I didn't know
he plays for the Bulls.
He plays for the Bulls. I didn't know who he's. I know who you're talking about.
It's been so long since the Bulls played. That's why
I know who you're talking about. Wendell Carter.
What number is that?
Number 8.
Number 8 is Wendell Carter. Number 7?
Jared Allen, which I thought was a football player for the Cavs.
Number 6?
He's a beast.
DeAndre Ayton.
He is a beast.
DeAndre Ayton is considered in this particular ranking the number 6 overall center, true big in the whole league.
Porzingis.
Number 5 is Porzingis. Number 4,
Rudy Gobert.
Number 3,
Bam Adebayo.
Bam Adebayo. The O's for overrated as a Miami Heat fan. Number 2,
Joel Embiid.
That's a real one. Number 1,
the Joker.
All right, but if you think about those names, right?
Mm-hmm.
You talk about broken, the concept of a big man in the center, to compare or contrast it with our framework of what a big man is, Like, we don't even have no bigs anymore.
What list? How is Brooke Lopez not on that list?
I thought Brooke Lopez should be on there too.
Me too.
I don't think that the game. I think the game has changed so much with the 3-point shot that now your big man has to be a guy who can stretch the floor. And the teams that have a really good big man that can stretch the floor put a stress on any team's defense, because now if you have a traditional big man that cannot really move like that, and we have a big man that can actually stretch the floor, he can run, he can shoot, he can't cover him. So
it's
now
about to get worse. You know why it's going to get worse? Because the idea of a big man and being on that block and anchoring and getting rebounds, that concept is already broken. It's going to be more broken after this NBA draft, because the first pick is a 7'4" Frenchman, Victor Wembanyama. How you say his name? Sorry, Victor.
He like 130 pounds.
But 130 pounds, he's a guard.
Right.
At 7'4".
Right. You know?
And it's just interesting that DeAndre Ayton, and maybe he's got more inside knowledge about it than I do, is trying to preserve value. Like, number 3 on that list is Bam Adebayo. Really?
But how is Giannis not a 5?
But he's not considered a 5.
Why not?
The whole thing is questionable.
Why not? What's the difference between? Think about this. Joel Embiid and Nikolai will shoot a jumper. Giannis is not a 5, but he won't shoot. He's not a shooter.
Porzingis is basically a 3.
Was 8 minutes ago. Now you're gonna tell me he can shoot jumpers?
No, but you know what I'm saying? He's a center. He's more of a center than Nikolai, and the way he plays his game, he's more of a center than the Joker. The Joker plays most of the game outside the 3-point line.
This is exactly what I'm saying.
Most of the game he stands
has
outside
changed
the
so
He
much,
has the ball in his hand most of the time, creating as much as he's trying to shoot and back you down. And he's a center, but Giannis, who just scores in the paint, who's a great basketball player.
So the challenge for when we even come up with these lists is that, we've been saying that it's becoming positionless basketball, but I only raise it here because when we think of DeAndre Ayton's injury last night, and then where the Suns are now, they got to blow it up.
And nobody even said Anthony Davis.
That's what I'm saying. Anthony Davis, is he considered?
I think he's a 4. I think he's considered a 4 now. He's not a.
But
he's not a center.
Who's the 5? Okay, well then who's the 5?
So there are no traditional 5s in the game, because you have
they don't have a 5
position of a 5.
We just don't have a center. I didn't even think about Anthony Davis yet. He's not. When
I look at traditional centers, I look at them as like linemen, like dudes that'll pull a sub out their shorts. You know what I mean? Like linemen, you catch them on the bus. They pull some food out their pocket.
That's how you get a groin injury.
Nasty, you know what I mean? Nasty, physical, like Shaq, old school dudes. Can't shoot free throws. There is no more of that. These dudes is like 70% from the free throw line as a 5. I think the game is now 1, 2, 2, 3, 4. Period.
It's
there
just
is no
5 basketball players.
Right.
Some are tall, some are not tall. Matchup nightmares. That's all they are.
Yeah, and it's only going to get worse. And here's the reason why I talk about the concept of the center, of a traditional 5. Back to the basket, on the block, getting rebounds, getting putbacks, right? Because you guys know how I felt about Kayvon Looney. I hate Looney, but if you look at his efficiency,
he's the most traditional 5 in the game.
He is. And I hate the way he plays, but the truth of the matter is he's very efficient for what they need him to do. And he was the reason that they traded the number 1 pick, because they realized they could get done what they needed to get done with Looney, right? But the other part of that is that whole 5 being broken is there are a lot of kids, and I see them in AAU gyms across the country, that think just because they big, that they have a future in this NBA game, and NBA in 10 years might not even have a 5. Like
they do now.
Right? We're struggling with figuring out who the top 5s are right now. In 10 years, there won't be a 5. The first pick of this NBA draft is going to be a 7'4" guard.
Yeah. From
France, by the way. And so people get mad at me when I say it, and gyms are like, you might really want to consider, man, he will look good at offensive lineman. And they look at me like I'm crazy, especially in regions of the world where basketball dominates, like New Jersey and New York. But this game has changed so much. The old idea, the old sort of adage of what a 5 is and a big man, that whole construct is officially and probably forever broken.
Well, there's because everybody, I mean, it's universal skill set, right? Like everybody has to have all of the main skill sets, has to have a shot, has to be able to hit free throws, has to be able to pass, has to be able to get a step back, like handle the ball, facility. Like everybody it's a universal skill set at this point where it's like you have to be prepared to do everything that a basketball player does, regardless of your position. Whereas before it was like you're in the post, you're bringing the ball up, you're on the wing. Like everybody needs to be capable. They might be used differently, but you have to be able to do everything.
It's a fun game to watch, but I think that the stakeholders, the people that have a lot invested in it, all the way down to the youth level, we just got to be mindful that this game is changing drastically, man. So we'll see if DeAndre Ayton's value indeed is what he might think it is, and he preserved it by not playing last night. But Jokic killed him. Killed him. Oh, my gosh, in those first 5 games. It was bad. That was bad. And I felt at times sorry for Ayton because he just couldn't defend him. The other game last night.
This is the first time we've really seen Jokic actually able to, like, showcase deep into the playoffs his skill set. So I don't know how much of it is Ayton just got eaten alive or Jokic is just, I mean, we're seeing what Jokic is doing. Like, this is how he gets down.
I think Ayton created a new verb. Ayton got Ayton alive. Ayton, you got Ayton, boy, you got Ayton. Because my man did a thing on him, man. Jokic, look, I was big on Embiid should win the MVP because I just feel like it all should come around and the politics of it. And I thought he should have won it before, but watching Jokic play, man, it's hard to argue he shouldn't be in that NBA conversation, that MVP conversation every year. He's really talented.
Very.
Let's hop into the other series from last night, man. Quickly, the 76ers figured out a way to lose, or I guess you could say ETP's Boston Celtics won the game. If the Sixers lose this series, watching the last 5 minutes of that game, and seeing the ineptitude of that 76ers offense and seeing Doc Rivers make 0 adjustments, I gotta say, man, I'm officially off the Doc Rivers train, bro. You got everything to win here against your former team. You're at home. All you gotta do is win one and you advance to the Eastern Conference Finals. Tatum is playing not bad, he's playing horrible for 3 quarters. And the fact that it was still a close game at that point, I said to myself, I'm watching Smart do his thing and other players step up. I said to myself, the 76ers about to figure out a way to lose this. And lo and behold, they did.
Tatum came alive.
Yeah, Tatum definitely came. This gets into, and I do agree, like, and you know what's going to happen. If they lose it, you know Doc Rivers, especially with the past couple of years, he's going to be out of there. But this gets into the conversation of, at some point, your star players, James Harden, Joel Embiid, y'all got to stop the bleeding. I'm coaching, but y'all got to make plays. As a coach, there's nothing I can do from the side. I'm trying everything. But at some point, you guys are superstars in this game and been doing it for a long time. So I need y'all to stop the bleeding.
Joel Embiid, because Joel Embiid did miss some shots late in the fourth in that 5-minute stretch.
He didn't touch the ball for the last 4 minutes of the game.
So last 6 minutes then, because he did have 2 shots that were in and out.
No, I'm saying like that's a coaching. I mean, I don't know who decides, right? Like if you're the star player, you get the ball.
I'm the star. I'm the MVP of this league. You better give me the ball.
But at the same time, like, why is he not getting touches? Like, why?
Maxey shot an air ball 3 in probably the most crucial possession of the game. And I'm thinking to myself, how's Maxey getting that shot? And it was on the heels of another air ball. I can't think who shot it. Some other role player. James Harden had a few late turnovers that were just questionable. So I don't know who's to blame, but the coach.
James Harden clumsy. He tripping for no reason.
Like, he just literally fell.
Fall clumsy.
Like, no, he's not going to call that. There was no contact.
That gets back to this whole thing being soft. James Harden been playing that way forever.
He's just not in good shape. James Harden's not in good shape. He played like a fat.
You know what I mean? I just again, even if I'm the superstar and everybody's gonna argue this, Michael Jordan is when we in the huddle, give me the ball. That's just what it is. Kobe Bryant, give me the ball. If I'll live and die with me missing that shot,
Right.
but y'all not taking this shot. And is Joel Embiid that person that's going to say that to those guys? We don't know. Is this generation?
No. He apologizes for fouls to the other teammate.
You see what I'm saying?
Sorry, I hate you like that.
These guys, when we talk about
nice.
just a softer generation, a different mentality, at some point, yo, give me the ball. I'm telling you, if one of y'all take the shot, we're gonna have a problem.
D'Anthony Melton, that's who took the shot. Prior to Maxi's air ball, Melton took 2 possessions where he got the shot, and Joel Embiid didn't even touch it.
You had to look that name up just now.
I had to look it up.
That says a lot right there. Like, who took that shot? It wasn't who. At least it has to be the Harden or Embiid on that team. And yes, that now is Doc Rivers as well. But as a player on the court, bro, do not take that shot. I'm telling you, we're gonna fight in the locker room.
And even a bigger interesting footnote for that team is Tobias Harris for this year's salary is making more than both James Harden and Joel Embiid at $37 million. Tobias Harris also was a no-show during times. It's just, I don't know, man. I love Doc Rivers. I do as a person. I think he is a good steward of the game from a citizen standpoint and how he represents the NBA. He is, look, his son, his son-in-law, and he is the fabric of the NBA. But he hasn't made it to a conference championship since 2013. He, I think, puts his fingerprints, his John Hancock, on inexplicable losses that you just got to look at the coach. Last night being one of those examples. And I'm a biggest fan of black men being employed. But damn it, Doc Rivers, at some point, man, at some point. So I think that when you look at this episode of What's Broken is Broken, Doc Rivers and this NBA just seems to be broken when it comes to getting over the hump, taking his team in big games on to the next round. I don't know if 76ers can come back from that and win in Boston.
Do you change your mind if they do?
Sports, man, hell yeah. It's a thin line between love and hate.
Let it do what it do, baby. Let it do what it do.
Doc Rivers lifetime contract.
Hell yeah. You win that one. You win in Boston. The stakes have gone up, but no risk, no reward. He go to Boston and win that game 7. The 2 best words in all of sports, game 7 in Boston, a place that has more history than just about any other NBA franchise, minus maybe the Knicks in Madison Square Garden. If you go there and win, hell yeah. I'm going to be the first one. Next week, we're going to talk about just how good Doc Rivers is as a coach. I have no problem admitting that, just how thin that line is between love and hate.
That's crazy. Coming into the season, though, the national people who are the experts of this thing, were saying if the Sixers don't make it to the conference finals, Doc Rivers is on the hot seat. Just because of the way they kind of blew everything up. They brought over James Harden. You paid Tobias Harris. You got to make this thing work. And he hasn't been able to make it work. And it's the way it's happened, too. It's not even the fact that you're losing. It's the way you guys have lost over the last couple of years. You got to go deep in the playoffs with this team to keep your job. And so yesterday to be up 3-2 and lose the way they did at home.
Here's how I evaluate coaches. I evaluate NBA coaches based on the environment that we saw last night. Closeout game in the playoffs. You're playing at home. You've got the star power. Can you get us over the hump? And unfortunately for Doc Rivers and his employment status, the answer to that question more times than not is no. He just can't. And you can blame it on the stars, and you should. Absolutely. James Harden just falling over himself late in the game. Yeah, we're going to talk about that. Joel Embiid, the MVP, not demanding the ball. We could talk about that. That's a part of it. But to me, those are a clear top of the list of things that you got to look at in last night's game, why the 76ers could not take that opportunity, could not take advantage of that opportunity. Number one is Doc Rivers. And I hate that that's the case because I like Doc, but I understand where his detractors are coming from in moments like that.
If you were
you're
Doc
one of them.
Rivers, if you
I'm
Doc
not
Rivers,
a Doc
and
Rivers detractor. I like Doc. Look, I was fighting for Doc last year. This time last year, I'm like, you can't blame that on Doc. It's this person's fault, that person's fault. We can check the tape. I like Doc, but I ain't blind either. Especially when you compare it to a coach like, look, I'm a Heat fan. Eric Spoelstra I used to give heat to Eric Spoelstra. I think Eric Spoelstra is one of the top 2 coaches in the NBA right now.
He giving some more heat to Spoelstra. That's
Who's
right. I said it.
Hey,
Who's the best coach?
The best coach in the NBA?
Thibodeau?
Right now?
Hmm.
I would probably say Eric Spoelstra, but yeah, that's why I said top 2. That's what I said. I was trying
Top
to say
two,
top
and he
2.
ain't
He
2.
wouldn't let me do it.
We top 2 and he ain't 2.
He top 2 and he is not number 2. I think Eric Spoelstra is the best coach in the NBA. Who you think? Who y'all think? Best coach?
Try to think of who did the most with less.
Are
Hard
you
to
talking
argue.
this
Kerr.
season, or
I
are
mean,
you talking the current coach?
Yes, I'm
Because
saying,
the best
like, is it
coach,
like
the
this-
best coach in the
This
league
season, or
that's currently coaching is Greg Popovich.
Yeah, used to be. I know what you're
Like
saying.
he's the greatest coach that's currently.
got you.
Until he
I got you.
retires. Yeah.
All right, so
But he obviously
yes.
hasn't had a great season in a while. But if that's depends on how you
Fair.
measure.
All right, let's
it.
take
If the Lakers win tonight,
Don't you
Like-
do it. Say it. Please.
all right.
say
So
it.
listen,
Please.
along those lines,
I can't do
because
but he did. He
Kelvin
had some
Jordan
good game
said
plans,
Kerr,
though.
right? Along those lines, do the Lakers win tonight? Steve Kerr, look at how Golden State has looked throughout the entire year. They were terrible, and now they're in a much different situation. Is that the players making the plays, or is that the coach?
But the Lakers coach, you gotta look at this. Barely got in there. Their game plan when the games that they won against Golden State, the way that he don't know what he's gonna get out of AD, so that's not his fault.
LeBron
But
makes
the way-
any coach look like the best coach.
Exactly.
He
potentially.
does.
I know because we don't even know what's supposed to.
I mean, look at the championship coaches that LeBron on championship teams that LeBron has had.
Yeah.
Are we out of good coaches? Because it shouldn't be this hard. This conversation shouldn't be this
And
hard.
I think we are out of
And
good
Greg
coaches.
Popovich is grandfathered in.
He's
So
grandfathered.
we
That's
gotta
old
say
shit.
that name out of respect.
Yeah,
But
and he's
I
retiring.
don't know
Right?
how to answer that.
Didn't he retire?
I think good coaches, just good coaches in general. You got to look at the college. They don't run plays in the NBA. It's just one-on-one basketball. The superstars are going to go one-on-one.
All-star game.
So when you talk about coaching and really like having a system that works, and you don't really see that.
What we have done in this little segment, just really accidentally, is we've kind of confirmed that wacky statement. Remember Kyrie, when Kyrie and KD came together, he was just like, man, I don't care who the coach is. The players make the play. And we were all kind of like, what?
Yeah, but I think that's a regular season. I think coaching it's really just people management. But in the playoffs, they earn their money in the playoffs, like adjustments and
That's why I think
roster
this Laker
changes
dude,
and all of that. Defense strategy, all of the things. The game slows down. They earn their money in the playoffs. Regular season, it's basically just AAU ball or whatever.
Look, Coach Bud got fired from the Bucks because he couldn't make that work. And you're looking at the opportunity that's right there. You're playing a Miami team that is also
I can't
undermanned.
believe they fired him.
You can't believe they fired him?
No.
I
I can't
mean,
believe it. They fired
2
him.
years
won the
after a championship. Look, the truth of the matter, and Doc
You
Rivers
kidding
is
me?
probably going to be
Like,
on the
yeah,
hot
they act
seat.
like they got tradition in Milwaukee. Like they're just this, like they got this standard. Y'all
Nick
trash.
Nurse, another championship. I mean, what is it? The past 3 champions, they fired their coaches.
And look, JJ Redick, who I mean, he is amazing with his rants, but he ain't never coached nothing. JJ Redick getting interviewed for NBA jobs now. It's just interesting that the idea of a
Who's
coach.
coach of the year? Sacramento.
Mike Brown.
Coach Brown, Mike Brown,
I think about
unanimous,
that.
first unanimous coach of the year.
Unanimous coach of the year. Who
Dare I
was
say
up?
again? Spoelstra probably is the best, just because when you look at the Miami team, other than Jimmy Butler, obviously we know who Bam Adebayo is, but they don't have those like A-list
Very few pieces.
superstars. They have a
Jimmy
really
Butler
good
say he's
team.
the best in the NBA right now. Come say something to me.
You say who's the best? Darvin
Jimmy
Ham?
Butler say flat out, I'm the best in the NBA. What's up?
Oh.
He
Who
came
said
out.
that?
Jimmy Butler.
Oh yeah, I love
the
Jimmy.
best or whatever.
I love.
He came out one of my favorite. I don't like cocky, but this was the best. After that game he came out with a jersey, and the back of it says, Butler said him.
Yeah,
I'm him.
Jimmy Butler, baby.
I'm him. That's
all
awesome.
right.
On the Shit Talking Hall of Fame, that's right up there.
Look, on this episode of What's Broken is Broken, or episode of Ball Hawk Sports Talk, but titled What's Broken is Broken, the idea of coaching and its role in the NBA, it might be broken. And the great philosopher, Kyrie Irving, might have been on to something. Well, he said, man, I don't care about the coach. He was so nonchalant. Like, and
yeah, but it doesn't matter if you're a good coach or a bad coach if you can't connect. I mean, that's why Steve Nash left, because he wasn't able to engage the players, because clearly if the main player, one of your main players is like, this guy's not relevant, I mean, you lose the locker room. Like, that's the most important part of especially an NBA coach, is just managing the personalities, right? Like, would Phil Jackson be considered the greatest coach ever if he just had, the old Clippers teams or, subpar talent? He was able to coordinate legendary players and manage those personalities. So similar to Kerr, right? Like, it's like, is it the players or is it the coaches? But there's a certain type of coach that superstars need to be coached by. Like would Mike Brown be successful coaching, being the head coach of the Golden State Warriors, or would Kerr be successful coaching the Sacramento Kings? Like, I think it's just a matter of fit.
So that brings up really a whole different topic, because then it becomes, what is coaching these days? Is it managing personalities?
Or
X's and O's? What is it? Especially in the NBA, when you see so much just one-on-one basketball. And you can take that all the way down to the youth level. In basketball, football, regardless, you have these teams that are being developed or being brought together. There's recruiting all the way down at the youth level.
Right.
Inadvertently, we also just proved that football is a better sport. Wait a minute. It requires more connection, real X's and O's, strategy. Like, I'm watching that last night. I'm like, yo, Doc, do something. And Doc looking at James Harden like, yo, Joe James, do something. Like, Doc was so disconnected from making something happen in the last 6 minutes. And I'm watching, I'm just baffled. For 5.5 minutes, close to 6 minutes, zero offense, zero adjustments. And they took a total of zero chance. Here's this opportunity right there staring at your face, and they just didn't take advantage of it. And Doc's going to have to answer to that. So I hope he stays employed. Let's go to the other two games for the night. New York at Miami. We know who's going to win that. Miami finally going to put New York back to where they're supposed to go. We're going to meet Knicks. We're going to meet y'all at LaGuardia tonight, and we're going to clap for y'all and say, that's a good season, baby. Y'all had a good season. But we putting you out your misery tonight. Miami is 6. Eric Spoelstra, that man who is the best head coach in the NBA, is going to put good old Tibbs on that plane with his team of no names and send him right back home. I don't know if it looks like Emmanuel Quickly is not going to play. Looks like Julius Randle will play. But they're going to have to get the ghost of John Starks, Patrick Ewing, Charles Oakley. All of them people are going to have to come and be in the Knicks jersey tonight for them to have a chance. What say you, Jones?
Well, I'll say this. First of all, Grandma down in Miami, Grandma don't even talk like that. Like, she got gold fronts. We got a little country slang than that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and
right,
speaking of those players that will still lace them up, I have to put Brunson in there as well. He's like that old school.
Oh, Brunson's cold. Yeah, Brunson would play through it. Brunson, I like Brunson.
He's from Chicago.
He's one of those guys.
Is Brunson from Chicago?
From Chicago. Suburbs, too.
He's from the suburbs
of Chicago. Yep.
I didn't realize. Brunson.
His dad coached at Camden. Well, I thought he played at Camden. He must have grew up in Chicago when his dad played, right?
Yeah, his dad played NBA.
Yeah. No, Brunson's cold-blooded.
Yeah, he's definitely. But listen, man. Look, we about to go down there to Miami, feeling good because it's warm, South Beach, all that stuff. And we just going to do what we got to do. Brunson going to go for 35, 40. Randall gonna have a big game. It's gonna be a close game, but we're gonna pull it out, and it's gonna be game 7. It just is what it is, and we're gonna come on back to New York, and y'all gonna have to deal with the ghost of the Starks and Ewings and those dudes.
Hey, look, man. I hear in the Madison Square Garden, they treat they celebrities. They lock them up and put them in handcuffs and drag them out.
Listen, they do. I don't know what's up with that. That's crazy.
Let's go to the other series then, because that's tonight's game, the first game. The other series, because we heard on this show, it wasn't this week, but we've heard repeatedly. Anytime the Lakers are in a series that features LeBron, we heard somebody on this show say, I'm not going to repeat it. Go ahead and say it, but say it with your chest because this is game 6. Go ahead and say
Lakers is 6. I've been telling you, I hate to ruin it for everybody. I do. Sometimes I feel like I should hold it back. You know what I mean?
So you don't think that the champs are going to have that Hulk Hogan resuscitation of power and pull it out tonight? They the champs. You got to beat the
You
champ.
don't think so. Draymond don't think so. Steph don't think so. Kerr don't think so.
You going Lakers in 6, they win tonight, they close out at home.
If they don't win tonight, they lose a series, but they're gonna win it. They gotta win.
You don't want to see Steph in the game 7. I'm sorry. Stephanie played. Them boys.
We can't expect AD to be healthy 7 games in a row, so they gotta win tonight and win 6.
That's terrible, yo.
It's terrible, but I try to keep my credibility somewhat intact.
ETP, you get last call, last game of the night. Golden State has to go to the Lakers. Who wins?
I'm gonna go with LA, which is crazy considering that the dynasty has lived for so long. But
is it broken? Is the dynasty broken?
I think we're at the end of the line. It's all got to come to an end eventually. I mean, LeBron. The thing that's crazy. And this is just another. I'll speak for Big Flo in my, on behalf of Big Flo as the president of the LeBron fan club. So Phoenix Suns, if the Phoenix Suns continued on, it would have been a really interesting model for. I mean, they blew up that team at the trade deadline, reconfigured the team midseason, and then tried to make a run for the championship. Technically, the Lakers did the same exact thing. The difference is LeBron James. Hopefully they win it, but I hope it also doesn't set this precedent where you basically just have a total reconfiguration to stack for a championship at the trade deadline because LeBron's able to, pull something crazy off. So I gotta go with LeBron. I don't think they the Warriors have it in them to win it away.
Steve Kerr, I think.
They have the worst record in the NBA away, and I know they turned that around a bit in the playoffs, but eventually it's going to come to fruition.
No, they don't play.
But also, it depends on what AD's situation is.
AD got to come today, man. He's at home eating vitamins right now, so stretching.
For those who don't know, AD was wheelchaired off of the court in the previous game.
He didn't know that. He thought he was sitting in the regular seat
for a concussion.
He was wheelchaired off, right? That's true.
Yeah, he didn't know that the chair had wheels on. He thought he was sitting in a regular chair, and it just started moving. So,
it was for concussion. We didn't all walk off the field with concussions.
The worst thing is they say he's not in concussion protocol.
Draymond
walked off the court.
They have to say that. There's too much money in this game. They have to say that. But Draymond actually went to bat for him. It was like, yo, you know how risky. We're always an inch away from changing our lives. When you get a blow to the head, yada yada yada. So,
did we see the play?
Come on, AD. He's from Chicago. Too.
Nah, you don't want to see the play because it's gonna make it seem soft.
Exactly.
If we show evidence of the play, we're putting smut on that man's name. But
listen,
damn, AD, come on, man. You from the shot.
Play, and for him to be in a wheelchair, he could have did it at least like
Paul Pierce
who came back. You know what I mean? He was
Paul Pierce had to
came back and
that story, right? Paul Pierce, he just had to do it.
Paul Pierce denied that. He said he didn't have to do it. He denied that.
I
would deny it too, though. All right, so look, y'all both say Lakers. What you say, Jones? Who you got winning tonight? Lakers or Golden State?
He knows.
I think I got Golden. I see it going 7 games. I got Golden State, man.
I think it's just too much money, man. You realize Golden State playing against LA
Are
in
you
a
saying
game
that
7?
the NBA is rigged?
I'm not saying it's rigged. I'm just saying, look, we started with the two principles of injuries and referees. All I'm saying is a foul ain't a foul unless the ref blows a whistle. I think tonight the ref gonna blow a whistle a lot. And there is a lot of subjectivity to calls. And the NBA understands that if subjectivity goes in their favor such that it increases the likelihood of a game 7, that the money is going to rain down.
That's the longest yes.
Rain. It's not.
Like,
If the Lakers
it's
win this
rigged.
series, though, who you got to win the NBA Finals?
If the Lakers
If
win
the
this
Lakers win the series,
I'm gonna be honest with you. I got Boston winning the whole thing. I think.
Oh shit,
They still got to win again.
Boston. Who y'all gonna drug test? You Boston.
If Boston loses the game,
They should win, but
and the
the
Lakers
coaching
win,
is questionable.
the Lakers got to win the championship.
Are you surprised that the coaching
Matter of fact,
is
no,
questionable?
I'm not. You know what? The way Denver looks right now,
Yeah,
Unbeatable.
Denver's not getting any real love.
the way
Denver
they look,
looks unbeatable.
yes.
I don't think. No, I think it's a bad matchup for the Lakers in Denver. Because I think
Bad matchup
the way
for Denver.
Joker's, I think AD gonna lock him up.
Man,
You out your
listen,
mind.
Joker's about to plug.
You seen the defense Anthony Davis has been playing in the playoffs?
Do you
gonna
see
do
who
him
he
like-
is defending?
That's true. That's true.
This is a
But
different
you know what I'm saying?
monster.
Hold on, man. I don't think the Joker has seen anybody with the long arms that's blocking shots like you.
I'm gonna be
If
honest
the
with you.
Joker
I think
can't
they
jump.
put LeBron on Jokic
You think so?
because AD is soft as
Soft.
Garment.
But he plays good D though. Isn't that weird how soft
Man,
he is?
he
But he'll
playing
beat you
D
up?
against Kayvon
I mean,
Looney.
if you're the most dominant defensive player, I understand the narrative around AD being soft, but he's been playing like a monster defensively.
He has.
Great.
He's
Respect
been
to
up and down this whole series.
He's
He'll
been
have
great
a
on
crazy-
defense.
Offensively, he's been up
Offense-
and down, but
offense-
defensively,
Defensively, he's
he's
been playing
always
great.
been.
I
there.
agree with you there, ETP. But he's been defending Kayvon Looney and help side. You can help if that's who you're guarding.
That's
In the
not who
previous
he's
in the
but stop
previous
saying that.
series, it was
Looney don't even
Jaren
shoot the ball.
Jackson.
Stop saying mean things.
You're just
Them-
you're talking about
saying
individual
mean
matchups. He's controlling the paint. Like
He
he's
is.
defending the entire. He's protecting the rim from
Blocking shots.
everybody.
The
Oh,
reason I'm
okay.
talking about individual matchups is because he can help when he's guarding a Looney or a Jackson. I think he's done a great job. When you are guarding the Joker, and if you need any evidence of this, just ask Ayton because he got Ayton'd. He got Ayton'd up by Joker all series. It's a different monster, man. That European brother, Joker, is on a whole different level, man. That's all I'm saying. And I agree with you, ETP. Shout out to AD and what he's been doing defensively. I think that has been the difference in their first two series, to be honest, is what he's done defensively. But if they advance and they play Denver, well, if they advance, they were absolutely going to play Denver. That's a different monster. That's a different monster.
I think Denver will beat the shit out of Golden State. I think they beat the fate. Who's the hell on their team can even try to talk to Joker?
I mean, they're gonna put Draymond on him.
So
It's really gonna come down to
Draymond
who's
too
too
short,
short in
man.
that game,
Draymond too short.
and that's throughout that series. For
Yeah.
the Lakers, I think Jokic pulls AD out of the paint because he doesn't play in the paint. He's not traditional big, and so he pulls him out of there, which allows for other guys to drive.
AD's athletic as hell. He could.
I mean, he could, but you gotta
Lakers
stay
and
home
six,
that boy,
and
because
Lakers and six
Jokic can
again.
make them threes.
Man,
NBA
Jokic
fun.
is he is the those are horse shots that he making. And he making them look easy.
He's so
That dude's
deep,
making like you ain't
so
supposed to be able to
wide,
just shoot that.
and
like
can't jump over dental floss. I don't know
that.
how
And
he's
he's still making them.
Yeah, it's
Like,
crazy,
it's
right?
crazy.
It's certain players that you like. How is this like Gronk? Just slow.
Yeah, I know Gronkowski's not a good athlete, but great at football.
Great.
You know what I mean? And it's
That's
like, how is
true.
he making this happen? And it just happens year after year
If
after
the Lakers win tonight, they win the championship, NBA championship. You heard it.
The whole championship.
The whole thing.
You didn't say that with your come on. Let's do it again. Let's
with your
repeat. Say it with
chest,
your
yeah.
chest now. Say it. Come on now.
If the
Conviction.
Lakers win tonight, they win the whole damn thing.
That was a little
was-
bit better, but I
Hey,
wanted,
I was
like,
playing
I
it
wanted
first.
Soul.
When I
Come
started
on,
saying
big
that
Flo.
stuff, but I believe in
See,
it.
his eyes start blinking. And
Yeah, like this ain't coming. It don't feel very. Come on, man.
I'm left eye dominant, so let me look at you with the left eye.
All right, so I ask you guys this, and we'll move on. Big Flo, who you got winning New York at Miami tonight? Who you got winning?
Jimmy Butler, both feet. You got both feet.
Jimmy Butler. He got both feet tonight.
I want New York to win, but Jimmy probably got another 55-point game in him tonight. The Heat.
You going Miami?
I don't want them to win. I really want New York to beat them.
ETP, who you got? New York at Miami tonight.
Objectively, it's hard for me to go with the Knicks because Brunson's not 100%. Randall's not 100%. They lost quickly too. I need the Knicks to win. I'm gonna ride with the Knicks, even though all roads lead to Miami should win this game. But I'm gonna say the Knicks pull something out the bag. Thibodeau neutralizes Jimmy Butler completely, and we go to a game 7.
Look, NBA, if it is rigged, they making them calls right now. 2 game 7s on 2 different coasts. You got a West Coast game 7 and an East Coast game 7 with the names that you got in those different series. Golden State and the Lakers on the West Coast, Miami and the Knicks on the East Coast.
Man. Oh, I'm not saying I'm saying the Lakers close it out. I'd love to see a game 7, but I know
I'm giving at least some attention to those conspiracy theories to say if there is a conspiracy theory out there, that's the best opportunity the NBA is ever going to have. To have 2 game 7s on opposite coasts.
And the old Staples Center and MSG. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Nah. So we shall see. Let's hop in quickly, man, and then we're going to get out of here for the day. On this episode of What's Broken is Broken, I do want to pay homage and give credit to, I talked about all of the people who called me when they heard my son's foot was broken. Somebody sent me some swag. You can't see the swag. The thing's a little. So they are going to be considered our sponsor. This shirt, Max Mentality, a young man who I watched raised in my church. Fat Max. He's a hip hop artist, but he's also doing his clothing line. So one of our sponsors. And then I haven't even opened it yet, but I've got in here ball hog gloves, dribbling gloves. He sent these to my son since he knows he can't do anything on foot right now because he got that broken club foot. Ball hog gloves. So I appreciate that, man. The founder and owner of it, and the one with the technology, sent that to him. It's a dribbling, they're gloves for dribbling and layup. So shout out. Those are going to be our 2 sponsors for today. And we ask again, everyone like, comment, share, tag a friend, tag a foe, and please subscribe. All right. Last topic before we get out of here. Transfer portal / NIL. Hunter Dickinson from the University of Michigan, that school that I normally don't talk about, that one up north, is transferring to Kansas. Hunter Dickinson was at one point in the conversation for Naismith Player of the Year, had a lot of success at Michigan, seemed to be the cornerstone of the team coming back. He was the piece that attracted some of the top recruits in the country, is transferring. Same thing on the ladies' side. Haley Van Lith from Louisville, who had an amazing season, had her own back and forth with Caitlin Clark. And Anisha Morrow from DePaul, 2 players that put up big numbers at their respective schools, are both transferring to LSU to join our girl, the Bayou Barbie. Join her, who is also a transfer from Maryland. I give those examples to then ask you guys a question. Is this system of the transfer portal broken? Because Hunter Dickinson made it very clear. He basically said, hey, yeah, I'm transferring. I only made I made less than $100,000 last year at Michigan. Frowning down, basically looking down upon that as an income stream. And I'll try not to be Grandpa Pa here, because I hear that. I'm like, only made $100,000. But he looked down upon that as his NIL revenue stream and decided to transfer because of it. Compare that to the conversation we've had a few weeks ago about Coach Prime being very outspoken and saying, I'm bringing my Louis, I'm bringing my Gucci, I'm coming with luggage. So go ahead and hop in that portal, baby. He was outspoken about it. There's a 2-way street going on with this transfer portal. The players obviously have a lot more leverage. But the institution, represented by the coach, in this case with Coach Prime, also have a lot more leverage with this transfer portal. And they are gently nudging, in most cases. Some people are flat out shoving and pushing them with two hands in their back, like Coach Prime, pushing kids into the transfer portal. If we think of the transfer portal as connection to NIL, what's motivating kids to make these decisions, how disconnected these decisions seem to be from the overall aspect of being educated and the concept of a student athlete, I ask you guys in no particular order, just to the group itself, is it broken? In this episode of What's Broken is Broken, hearing that all of these motivations are so agnostic to education on both sides, the players, the student athletes, and the coaches or the institutions that are pushing kids into the portal. Is it broken?
I think it's so hard when you ask that question because I can give you a scenario and then I can give you the other side of the scenario. And depending on who you are, it's great. Depending on who you are, it's bad. It used to be, people will say, hey, you're never going to play here. There's certain schools I won't name that would say, hey, they humiliate the kid. And they said, listen, you're never going to play. You're not going to suit up for any games. You can't come to summer camp. You can't do this. You'll be here during the fall. You'll just practice. And then you'll never be in the game, whatever. Humiliate you into wanting to leave, right? Other teams you'll see, schools got to get down to 85 scholarships. Other schools I'll say nameless. They'll go into the summer with 85 or 86, 87 scholarships. Suddenly you hear about a guy who's medically retiring in December or somehow he gets in some sort of a trouble and they kick him off the team for something that maybe they wouldn't kick you off the team for. So there's other ways you could look at those different things. So, Coach Prime, as much as I criticize and I don't like the way he's doing it, at least he's kind of putting it out there. The bad part of that is we're trying to call these guys student athletes. A few years ago, schools had the option to make it a 4-year scholarship. Shout out to Northwestern. You signed a 4-year scholarship at Northwestern. When I played, when you played, and everyone else here plays, it was a 1-year renewable, right? And every year you signed your scholarship again. Northwestern, you signed a scholarship one time and it's for 4 years. Most schools don't do that, and they had the option to do that. They were moving towards a more educational base, with graduation and penalizing for graduation. Now, maybe not intentionally, they're throwing it on their ear because you got people transferring in and out of Colorado in one semester. Obviously, that's not helping the graduation rate. Is it broken? Is it 40% of the people never get out of the portal? Less than 30% of the people that get in the portal graduate college. Is it broken? I mean, at that point, you got to say that those things are not achieving the goals that the scholarship was intended to achieve. But it fixed a lot of problems in some ways because now kids aren't hamstrung to be a second and third string quarterback.
Right.
Is it broken? They have another way that they get you now. You have these portal deadlines that they just put this year, which protects the school. So if you're not in the portal by April 30th, you're stuck until the end of the football season. The school doesn't have to bring in their next players until May 1st. So now you think you won the starting job or you think you're the backup. You're feeling comfortable after the spring. Then you look up and you see some new guy walk in the door. My son's at Northwestern. I was happy to see them add depth at the quarterback position. I think that we have some young quarterbacks that'll be good eventually, but I think we needed some depth for this year.
Because
my son is a wide receiver.
Is a wide receiver. Got it.
But now I had to put on my hypocrite hat because less than 7 days later, what happens? They sign a receiver. I'm not as excited.
From the portal, they signed a receiver from the transfer.
From the portal. Not that my son was going to transfer, but here I am thinking, okay, our quarterback situation, this kid can't transfer because he thinks he won the job, and they just brought in a guy who, for any betting man would say that this new guy is probably going to be the starter. And now we have depth. So from a receiver standpoint, as a dad being completely honest, I'm like, all right, good. We got depth at the quarterback position. And then they add depth at the wide receiver position, and I don't like it as much. So It's hard. You got to look at it both ways. Nothing is a clear cut. This benefits the player, and this benefits the school, and this benefits football. Answer. Each aspect benefits one and exposes the other. And I don't know. It's up for everyone else to judge whether it's good for football.
You said something that you talked about the graduation rate, and you talked about because what prompted this particular topic is as of yesterday, there's 1,700 players in the 2023 cycle that have entered the transfer portal for basketball alone.
Right.
1,700.
And basketball only has 15 scholarships per school, unlike football that has 85. So 1,700 is like
sometimes the
most
math
of them.
don't be mathing, and that math don't be mathing. And then you also talked about the disconnect with the education. Maybe this is a broader statement. The old American dream of go get a college degree in order to lead you to a career, maybe that's broken. Maybe, again, I'm being grandpapa, and the importance and value of that has diminished over time. I don't know, but I'm forced to ask, is it broken because whether you're in the portal voluntarily because you know you have options and you don't want to be the second or third string quarterback when you know you can play, or whatever position, or point guard, basketball, whatever position. All sports are enduring the pains of the transfer portal. It makes me wonder, right? Because the other side of it is that the institution or the coaches have asked you to get into the portal. It just makes me wonder if it's broken from all sides, if you will.
I think that you have to, from a parenting standpoint, for me, speaking just for me, I'm going to look at where it is that you want to go. Like, we're not going to Ohio State because you love Ohio State. We're just not making that decision. And I know you're coming of age and you can make your own decisions. And yes, is this your decision? It is your decision. It's your life. You got to deal with that. But I need to make sure that I equip you mentally with everything that you need to make the right decision. And I think that so many people are making decisions just based on football, based on the facilities. When they get you in there and you put the uniform on, and it's like, well, I spoke to the coaches and they just made me feel at home. And man, all of that is some BS, because we all know that once you get on the campus, it's going to be a totally different thing. And so you need to make sure the school that you choose from the beginning is somewhere where you can play right away. That might be a smaller school. It might not be Power 5. So if whatever your goal is, it needs to be from an academia standpoint. And it needs to be somewhere where you can play right away and showcase your skills, regardless if you're trying to get to the league or if colleges that if you're done after college, you at least wanted to be able to play while you're in college and not have to wait till your junior year. So because so many people are making wrong decisions, now you have everybody trying to transfer and get into the transfer portal. That's from the player standpoint.
Even the way you set it up, Coach. Kid goes to a school where academics are important, where he can play right away, he or she, depending on the sport. We have now seen it where the kid goes to that school, excels first year, and then it's almost automatic that they're going to transfer to another opportunity. That's how crazy it has become.
So that was going to be my next point, because that kind of takes us back to the kid who was like, man, I only made $100,000. Mm-hmm. If you are that person that, and it has to be like, everybody, because you got to understand, I'm sure there's some tampering going on in here, right? Like behind the scenes, coaches are,
you hit the portal on Friday and Saturday, you're on someone else's campus.
Exactly. So there's tampering. If you're really that person, if you're going to end up somewhere else or not. There's other people that are just in the portal with just the hopes of, I'm trying to get an offer to another because I think I was good over here. So I think that, again, you have to make sure you make that decision, because some of these schools, and I've talked to college coaches like, these kids going in the portal, they losing them scholarships. You got to kind of know what you're doing, and that comes back to really the foundation of things. I think from a school standpoint, from an NCAA standpoint, if the NCAA wants to really keep a handle on things, there needs to be some recourse to these schools in some way. If they push a kid into the portal, that kid doesn't just lose their scholarship if they don't end up getting out of the portal. If you don't get out of the portal, nobody wants you. All right, maybe your career was going to be over anyway. You never going to play anywhere, but at least you still can finish your schooling and get your degree and move on and be a successful citizen in this world versus, well, now we didn't push you in the portal because you were never going to play. You lose your scholarship. You ended up stuck in the portal, and now you got to go pay to go to school somewhere. I think the school should lose scholarships.
It should be like a alimony, right? If you and your wife get a divorce, you got to keep her at the same standard you had her at, right? Pay attention.
Standard of living, yeah.
Unless she gets married, and then you off the hook, right? So if it costs $35,000 a year to go to your university, and you can't, and this dude can't get married somewhere else, you owe him the alimony payment, $35,000 towards his next university. Let's go, church.
And guess what? I think that more coaches will live by the same rule that some spouses live by.
Cheaper to keep her. Cheaper to keep her, boy. Let's go.
You see what I'm saying? There needs to be some recourse.
Yeah.
And that's how the NCAA can really keep a handle on things, because right now we're out of control. We really are out of control. And I get everybody is like, at least Deion is honest with it. But if I'm a kid at that school, if I'm a parent of a kid at Colorado and he comes in and he's like, yo, y'all should just go in the portal. Colorado, yes, it's a Power 5 school, but it ain't one of them schools that, kids can just, you ain't going to go from Colorado to Alabama like that. Like, you know what I mean? You're at Colorado because you might not necessarily been good enough to get to Alabama. So if I'm a parent of a kid at Colorado and this guy comes in and he's like, man, look, I'm bringing everybody with me, so y'all might as well go ahead in the portal. I need some assurance that at least my kid can finish school, regardless of what happens.
ETP, I ask it the same way. Is it broken, man? And I only ask it that way because it's so new. Yet we've got enough data now to see the graduation rate. We got enough data now to know the likelihood or probability that you're going to at least a similar opportunity and a similar scholarship where, you go from a Colorado to another Pac-12 school. There's enough information out there now that we can't pretend as though, well, we're just going to try and see what happens. We're seeing what happens. And so I ask you the same question. Is it broken?
So I think there are situations where it's broken for certain people. I think there's a lot of opportunity. I think adding the transfer portal was helpful for a lot of student athletes, but ultimately, the transfer, we keep coming back to making sure that they get their scholarship or they're able to keep their scholarship. I totally agree with that, but that's not the intention of why they have this relationship to begin with, right? Like, they're there to play the sport. And so the idea is from, there's situations where the players or the athletes, like, they've been stuck in situations because they were wedded to this scholarship, or they just wanted to make sure that they kept the scholarship, but they never played or had issues. So I think it's not broken for the elite athletes that are able to derive a ton of value by going places where they can get marketing deals. They're put in positions to be successful. They're at the best facilities, all of that. I think it's not broken for people. Like, I'll give you an example. I live in Jersey City. St. Peter's University went to the Elite Eight a couple years ago. As soon as they lost in the Elite Eight to North Carolina, Shaheen Holloway goes to Seton Hall immediately. What happens? All the players end up jumping into the transfer portal, some getting better opportunities, but the coaches are jumping around so much that also affects the relationships that you have as a player. So there's a lot of collateral damage that happens, but there's also a lot, like, would you rather the alternative where the players are hamstrung, like, if you transfer, you have to take a year off, or you can't transfer, you lose eligibility. If you are looking for a situation where you want to be able to play and you want to be able to perform and you want to be in a system that's going to value you at the level that you want to be valued. So it's not a yes or no question if it's broken or not. I think it gets manipulated a lot. I think the programs and the coaching staff, they're kind of adapting to it because everything's temporary. This is more volatile now than professional sports. Like, these are 1-year deals for everybody. Like, you could spend all your time recruiting the top athlete, and they could take their luggage and go to another school in the next season, right? So as a program,
like Caleb Williams, the Heisman Trophy winner at USC, followed his coach and left Oklahoma looking like Boo-Boo the Fool.
right? So it's I don't know that it's broken. It's volatile, and with the volatility, there comes a lot of issues with certain people, probably more middle of the road players. I think there's a lot of opportunity for, to Jones' point about coming in, just going somewhere where you can play, showcasing your talent, and then saying, okay, now I'm going into the transfer portal and I'm going to walk into a starting position at a bigger school where I wasn't as highly recruited. I was a 2-3 star prospect. I wasn't getting the looks that I needed, but I was able to put some tape together and I have some experience. I think the broken piece of it is I question how much development is happening at any level at this point, because it's all about the talent right now. What are the results going to be?
Right.
Nobody's necessarily saying we're going to invest 3 to 4 years in you so that when you are a junior, senior, you're a Heisman candidate or, Walter Camp Award winner, whatever. It's what are you doing right now? And I'm not responsible for developing you 2, 3, 4 years down the line.
I think from a football standpoint, specifically, we're cutting off our nose to spite our face. And I say that because the development part that you just pointed out, ETP, like development, taking the time to develop a player that is fighting for a spot in order to get on the field, in the long run, pays off for the game. The NFL ultimately is better because it's made up of kids that have been really developed and had to fight to get on the field. The way we're doing this college game, this college thing now is everybody wants finished products.
Right.
It's impacting. There's a domino effect.
Right.
Less kids are getting recruited because they'd rather fish out of the transfer portal pool. Right. And less kids are getting developed on campus. Why? Because they'd rather just fish out of the transfer portal pool for someone that's already ready to play. Right. And I think the game itself is suffering from it. Now, I love the idea of treating it like alimony, but I think the other thing is that I think the student athletes should be able to opt in one category or another. Meaning, I want to opt into a school that gives me, and this is just me thinking off the cuff, but you give me the option if I want an academic path or a more athletic path. And if I choose that academic path and you put me involuntarily into the portal, I can still stay and graduate. If I choose the athletic path, because a lot of people go in with this mindset that I'm going to the league, is league or bust, then you have now put yourself in a professional, business-like atmosphere where they can throw your ass in that portal. And I think that might solve a lot. It will cause players to really think about the academic importance of their decision. It will require families to really do more advising beforehand. And I think it would equal the playing field, voluntary, involuntary, with or without the alimony concept that you guys were saying, that you got to pay towards that student's education. I think that the people that should have money paid for the education are the people that opt in and say, this education is more important to me than the pursuit of making it to the professional ranks. Now, only basketball.
How do you come in as a prospect and say, you know what? I'm not really prioritizing the sport right now, so I'll just take the consolation prize. Hopefully, you give me some playing time. You really want me on your team?
I don't know how I would word it. I wouldn't say it that way. What I would say is, when I went to Notre Dame, I believe wholeheartedly, and it's all personal, right? We're giving our personal account, so that's the only reason I'm sharing it. I believe wholeheartedly that I would be in the NFL. I believe that I would make it to the NFL. I think everyone in the major revenue-generating sports, football, basketball, believes that. However, while believing that, I went to Notre Dame because of the academics. I had a mother that was an educator that would kick my ass if I brought home anything less than an A-. I knew that education, to me, when I looked at the balance of power, education was always more important to me than the athletics. And there are probably students still to this day that believe that, but they're in a world that has become a one-year deal with this transfer portal that you can get there voluntarily or involuntarily, that I think it undermines that kid's path towards ultimately what's most important to them is a degree. And that's all I'm saying is that you ain't got to choose. You know, academics is more important than athletics. But I do think that having an opt-in allows you the protection of if it doesn't work out athletically, I'm going to stay here and graduate. And right now there are no protections, and that's all I'm saying for these young people that do value education. I think there should be some protection. So we're saying the same thing with the alimony construct, but I don't think alimony should be available for everybody.
But then that's
well, like I said, Northwestern says that that you can sign a 4-year. Some people offer you a 1-year, right? So now you can go get a 4-year. So when I'm going to get a degree from someplace, or I commit, I'm a signee and I'm ready to go commit, and they say, all right, we want you X school, what school? Are you willing to give me a 4-year? Nope, we're only going to give you a 1-year. Now you got to decide, do I go to school A where it's a 4-year and the 4-year comes to alimony?
That's a version of it. That's kind of a version of that.
Yeah, like a version of that. Or are they going to give me a 1-year renewable, or I take my chances? You can't, the way you worded it makes it difficult. Like academic, not academic, but you're saying, are you going to commit to me for 4 years or 1? Some schools are not going to do that. They're going to be like, a school like Colorado is not going to give you a 4-year commitment, knowing that they're going to put 50 people in the total all year. They don't have the budget. But a school like a Stanford, a Vanderbilt, a Duke, a Northwestern, I wouldn't even put Notre Dame in that category right now, might say, hey, listen, we'll commit to you for 4 years because we're more of an academic place. And when you got to think, okay, do I want to know for sure that my college is paid for no matter what happens, or am I risking it? We go back to the basketball numbers. You said 1,700 people. I did the knowledge. That's 30% of the players that are on scholarship. Roughly, there could be some walk-ons in there too, but 30% of the available scholarship number is in the portal. I mean, that's scary when you think about right now. My son signed a scholarship. I said, cool. I took that money and I put it in his sister's name. I got 1 down, 1 to go. And obviously we don't want anything catastrophic to happen to him that would, stop him from playing ball or whatever. But I hope my son's not going to steal anything or beat anybody up or do something really bad and lose a scholarship. But for practical purposes, we think we're done. All the investment we made to get there, we're done.
Right.
And to think that you could be at a university that just said, "No, you're not done. We'll kick him out after a year because he's not as fast as we thought, or he dropped an out or do whatever." That seems like it's not. The risk is too great.
And you have now brought up another layer, another domino to the domino effect. Is that there are families being impacted by this in ways that we can't even foresee because we made it so much about the business aspect of it. We got to remember, these 18, 19, 20, 21-year-old kids. And I think it's broken. I don't know any solution how to fix it, but I wanted to have the conversation nonetheless.
Shout out to Dana Day, first-time listener. He was a college football player back in Wyoming.
Who was that?
Shout out Dana Day, whose comment I put up here. First-time listener today. Maybe not broken, but definitely messy. I don't know how to fix it because they just busted it out and opened everything butt naked at the same time. NIL, they just start throwing things around. There's definitely some good to it, but it's gotten messy. But again, shout out to them.
We're down to the 1 minute mark, and we're gonna end on this, man. The A's announcer, who Glenn, I can't even pronounce his last name, on air said the N-word. While talking about the Negro League Baseball. He substituted Negro for the N-word. Bob Huggins, while talking about, I think it was Xavier or something, he used a homophobic slur. And just yes or no, quickly, because in both cases, there was a person next to the person. We saw with what was the Bush name? I can't think of his first name.
Billy Bush.
Billy Bush, who was next to Trump when he talked about grabbing women by the genitals. He got fired. Just yes or no. In terms of the A's announcer, there was somebody next to him who didn't necessarily correct him. In terms of Bobby Huggins, they called into his show, and right after he hung up, it's like, man, we love Bobby Huggins. Should those people, the man next to the man, face penalty for being in that circumstance? I'll start with you on that one, Coach Jones.
I don't think that I should face penalty for something that you said. No, I didn't do anything I didn't do anything illegal or anything like that. Maybe I didn't correct you because, as we know, you're taught to kind of just move forward and act like it didn't happen. Right. No, I shouldn't be penalized for something that you said. You know how hard it is to actually say that, to substitute the N-word for the Negro League when you're actually talking about the Negro League? That's not actually you did that on purpose.
Right. Right.
It's the Negro League. So for you to say
and you're using the word frequently that it
what?
slips off your tongue that way.
Yeah, exactly.
Big Flow Show. Yes or no, man? Should they be penalized? The man next to the man in these situations.
I think that you kind of have a little bit of an obligation if you're there. I mean, when Bobby Huggins said that in the radio show and they got off the air, they should say, hey, folks, sorry about that. Bobby went a little too far with what he said. We really don't, condone that kind of language here. But, great coach, Bobby, thanks for being on, do whatever. They had an opportunity to say that when they got off the air. They're like, man, he was great, man. Wasn't that guy just awesome? And I know that they're so more worried about turning on Bobby, so they want to say it. But I kind of feel like you have to separate yourself from doing it. I mean, when Obama was running for president, he was in the congregation when Reverend Wright said, goddamn America, and he got scrutinized and called the carpet for it. How could you sit there in the church when they say it? I've been in a situation before where people say things that go against what I believe in, and you question, how can I sit there and be associated with that? The one where the guy with the Negro League comment, which the convenience was there, the other guy was completely speechless. I almost felt like he was just froze. I couldn't tell if the other guy was a professional media person or if he was an athlete. That's one thing I don't know, if he was a media person or a guest. But the guy was – the worst part about that, and you guys look it up, is when he said it, he was saying it like it was like he had such a great day. We went and ate at this place, and we got to go to the N-word Hall of Fame. He said it like it was awesome. The other dude was probably speechless. I don't know where he stands because he's not a media person, but I do think the radio people have an obligation after hearing the guy use that the F word 3 or 4 times on there that they kind of gassed him somewhat into the conversation, went down that line. I think they had an obligation when it was over in the
Bob Huggins situation.
Bob Huggins, especially because he's a guest on their show, to apologize to their guests for that.
ETP, last but certainly not least, does the man next to the man have an obligation? And if they don't fulfill that obligation, in this case, both cases, no one made a correction, made an apology, tried to correct it. Should they be penalized in any way?
I mean, I think in any of those scenarios, there's kind of 3, maybe just off the cuff, I'm thinking there's 3 reactions that can exist, right? One is you can condemn it immediately. The other is you cannot acknowledge it, or 3 is you enable it. And I think that piece, like the radio show, when we bring up the example of Billy Bush, I think that issue wasn't so much that he did not correct Donald Trump. It's that he was enabling or egging it on or participating, even though he wasn't saying anything. He was giving him license to continue on with that sentiment. The Bob Huggins thing, I think that kind of has a similar vibe to it. I wouldn't sit here and say that somebody's responsible to check somebody, but you can definitely disassociate and turn, and acknowledge that they don't reflect your views on whatever the topic is, right? So I don't think anybody should necessarily be penalized for it. I think the radio show is a little bit different because they ignored it as if it was totally fine versus calling it out. But the guy that was, sitting next to the A's announcer in media, for him to call it out on live television, I think would have made it even more of a messy situation. So I don't hold him accountable to that at all. But yeah, so generally speaking, no, if you're not affiliated with the statement and you don't identify it with it and you're not enabling somebody to have those views, then you shouldn't be penalized for it.
Good stuff. Good
B,
stuff.
I ask you right now. D. Jones came on our show, gracious guest. We've had him on before. If he goes off the rails and says something completely crazy, do you just ignore it when he's off the air, or do you feel like you have to address it?
I honestly, because we've had
Sorry
this,
to put you out there like that, D, but it's most of
yeah, this is great. The hypothetical is you're the villain. And it's
you're the villain. He says some crazy stuff.
Yeah. I would say, yeah, I do feel an obligation in this platform with the audience and the people. It's more intimate in our setting that the people that have been here. We're not at the point yet, and I put yet in all caps, where our audience is, millions of people. But I think that even if your audience is millions of people and you want to be authentic and true to yourself and it's truly offensive to you, you should at least point out that it's offensive to you and that it doesn't align with how you want to produce content in public spaces. I do think you should at a minimum do that. And
My
that doesn't
analogy is
mean I would go to town on my guy. Like, yo, he's still my guy. And I
nah,
think we're all
I'll be like, hey
fallible.
man, hey, come on, D. Let's keep it cool, man. Like you could do whatever. Okay,
Yeah, I would
you
do it in a
guys
way
jump
like
on
that.
me when I tell you LeBron, Lakers in 6. You disagree with that. You don't want that to be said without
Yeah,
checking
no,
it.
I would.
So if he says something that's crazy,
Right,
and you just sit there, to me, just acting like nothing happened to me is cool to you.
right.
That's not like that's cool. That's the way I look at it.
And look, yeah, I would feel obligated to, right? And this episode title was Broken
But
is
D, you would
Broken.
never do nothing like that. We
Yeah, it's hypothetical, of course. But I think
you can't even put no. You're so worried about offending nobody. You don't even put no pictures on the wall.
Yeah.
Nah, exactly. It's green screen. It's green screen. It's green screen.
All inclusive.
Right.
Like,
Everybody is perfect for the audience. I won't put nothing behind it. I will say this, man, because in this episode of What's Broken is Broken, when I think of the racial epithet, when I think of the homophobic slur, I do think that in this country things are broken that we can't have a real conversation. And the N-word slipped off his tongue so easily, and the homophobic slur slipped off his tongue so easily, because I think conversations are had in private that we don't have in public. We're not having tough conversations. And that's a topic for another day. But I think it was worth saying it in this moment. So with that, man, it's been a great show. We've done a lot of great stuff. We've gone longer than normal, but it was all worth it. I appreciate everyone for coming and joining. It is one of those things. We started talking about a broken foot, but we talked about broken systems. The Ball Hog Sports Talk, where sports, business, and entertainment collide. I want to thank the sponsors for today. Today's sponsors, Max Mentality. Go out and represent Max Mentality, e-commerce. Y'all go support the young brother, man, because I appreciate he supported me. And this is a young man that I literally have watched grow up. He is now 22 years old. And for those of you who can do math, that means I'm getting old. And also the Ball Hog Glove system, where you can work on your dribbling, work on your layups. We appreciate the founder of the technology for sending me the gloves on behalf of my son. The personal reality of dealing with an injury on behalf of my son prompted the title, but it also then prompted me to think of other systems that were broken. We all have these personal realities in different categories, whether it be the injuries in the NBA, whether our reactions and belief in the conspiracy theories of the NBA. When you look at sports betting and how it's impacting what the overall interest of the game is, there's a lot of conversation around it. The other systems that we talked about, the NIL and the transfer portal, near and dear to all of our hearts. And we don't know the solution, but we know that if we don't talk about it, then it'll never be solved. In addition to some of the issues, more social issues, whether racial epithet or the homophobic slur. On the Ball Hog Sports Talk, we promise to talk about it, because where sports, business, and entertainment collide just means it's a few businessmen getting together to discuss sports in an entertaining fashion. But we can't do it without you. So like we do always, we ask you humbly to like, comment, share, tag a friend, tag a foe, tag anybody that you know, and please subscribe to both the YouTube channel and the podcast. Happy that we had an amazing guest today. My man, D. Jones, Donald Jones in the building. We seem to think that he'll be back because he already invited himself back. Them the kind of guests we have. He's our guy. We had ETP straight from the East Coast, fresh off a Celtics win. That's why he was even happier today. We had my man, the Big Flow Show from the Middle Coast. I am your boy, B Brown, ESQ, a.k.a. The Ball Hog, a.k.a. The Mouth of the South, a.k.a. Mr. Excessive Celebration, a.k.a. Barizi. This has been our show entitled What's Broken is Broken on the Ball Hog Sports Talk. Appreciate you. We'll see you next week. We is out. Peace.